It's time for City Beat, your source for all the latest news on the city of Thompson. Only on 102.9 CHTM, your radio station.
Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of City Beat. I'm CJ Carter, and joining me in studio today is Mayor Dennis Fenske. Thank you for coming in, sir.
Good morning.
Now, if you have a question that you'd like to ask the mayor, give us a call at 677-8181, and you'll get the chance to ask. So to kick things off, what's been happening around the city?
Well, this weather is helping us greatly in regards to getting into the spring mode, and that means that it's cleanup month for the month of May. We have sweepers out on the streets right now in regards to lawn sweeping and putting grass and gravel back onto the road. The larger sweepers and loaders and trucks will be running on Monday to start picking that up. Just a reminder to residents that if you do want to have your lawn swept off, or you're hiring somebody, or you're doing it yourself, you can put it onto the street close to the curb for the next couple weeks while our people are out on the street. We'll pick it up. So we encourage you to do that now because once we go through, we don't want to come back into the area. So just phone Public Works at 677-791-7971 to find out where the sweepers will be in the next couple of weeks, and you can clean off your lawn, put it onto the street close to the curb, and we'll pick it up, and it'll help beautify our community.
Great. Now we're finally starting to see some warmer weather on a more regular basis. We're going to start seeing more cyclists on the roads. So let's talk road safety measures for both drivers and cyclists, because there is going to be caution on both sides. Absolutely,
and it's all about awareness, and more so on the driver's perspective, because if you're a cyclist, you have to be aware of everybody around you. But the reality of it is, if a cyclist comes in contact with the vehicle, the cyclist will lose. So there's a lot of responsibility on the drivers, especially around the school zone areas with young kids, and a reminder that everyone in Manitoba under 18 has to have a bike helmet on while they're on a bike. So again, it's back to awareness. Be aware as a driver, look around, be aware of your surroundings, and as a cyclist, be aware as well. Make eye contact with drivers of vehicles when you're crossing roads or making turns. Make sure you use the proper turn signals and make yourself visible.
Absolutely. Quick reminder to those listening, if you have a question that you'd like to ask Mayor Fenske, you can give us a call right now at 677-8181. Now, the city had their public hearing regarding the 2016 financial plan last Thursday at City Council chambers. Deputy Mayor Valentino had chaired the meeting. You were absent, but I'm sure you received some notes on the meeting, or you saw the recording on Shaw. So I wanted to get your thoughts on how you thought the meeting went.
Sure. All intents and purposes, it went very well. I was actually on vacation, but I was able to follow it online. And so the meeting went well. I saw the minutes of it and the tape of it. So basically, good questions. I think Deputy Mayor Valentino did a great job in explaining the budget of approximately $30 million from an operating perspective. So as far as the process, that was the public hearing. Prior to that, we had held the first reading of the levy bylaw. Then we followed that up with this past Monday with the second and third reading, some more questions in regards to that, but at the end of the day, the levy bylaw was passed. So the next step is now to file that document with the province of Manitoba, which the deadline is May 15th.
So that was the last step with the second and third readings. There's nothing else that's...
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, with the public hearing, there was one question that was asked that I thought was a great question, where they pointed out that the time that the city had between holding the hearing and the deadline for submitting the budget was cutting it a little bit thin for receiving feedback from the public and actually being able to act on their concerns. So I'm hoping that you'll clarify, because the annual budget isn't something that was just put together in the last month. It's taken time to put together. So if people have suggestions that they want to submit throughout the year, how would they go about submitting them?
Well, basically, they can submit them to either our Chief Financial Officer, Jenny Krentz, or our CAO, Gary Sapatelli, at City Hall through Thompson.ca. But just in regards to the process, and I agree, it's an excellent question in regards to time, and we really want to encourage people coming out to the hearings and also having involvement. But I think one of the things that we may look at for next year is we start our budget deliberations normally in late October, early November, where we get the gross numbers, the impact for the coming year, and where that'll give us a starting point of basically expenditure versus revenue, and then we have to cut it back to the point where we have a balanced budget. The province of Manitoba, through the Municipal Act, all municipalities, with the exception of the City of Winnipeg, who are under the Winnipeg Act, have to provide a balanced budget from year to year. So I will be suggesting to Council that we have, and it may not be the legal form of a public hearing, but have a public consultation at the beginning so that people know where we start from, and then it usually takes a 2 to 3 month process to get through to the end, to the legal requirement of having a public hearing. So I think we'll be changing it up a little better next year in regards to the budget process to include people's ability to comment on where we're at and what the focuses are by area, where we're spending our monies, where the priority should be from the community's perspective, and from that, hopefully, we'll have more community input to the budget.
Which is always beneficial for sure.
Absolutely.
Now, another note from this past council meeting was an update from Thompson Unlimited, which we haven't heard a lot about for about a year now. So for people that might not be familiar, what exactly is Thompson Unlimited, and what does this update mean for the city?
Well, Thompson Unlimited is the economic arm of the City of Thompson. They've been tasked, there's a voluntary board and staff, general manager, that have been tasked with implementing the strategies outlined by the City of Thompson in regards to economic development in our community. And so there was a board transition over the last year, staffing transition. So that's basically what's been happening with TU the last 6 to 8 months. They came forward to council on Monday to present a strategic plan for the coming year of 2016. Presented that, and so moving forward, they will be providing the community and council with quarterly updates as to what's happening in regards to tourism, cold weather testing, and economic development in our community.
Excellent. Now, before we wrap up, was there anything else that you wanted to mention?
A couple things. Today is the National Day of Mourning, and so through proclamation, I've proclaimed that day today. There's also a function at the Steel Center this evening at 7 o'clock where we'll have a ceremony to recognize those workers who have fallen during completing their work tasks, and it's always unfortunate where there is loss of life. That's why, from the city's perspective, we have what we call safe operations in moving forward to make our work atmosphere safe from injury and fatalities. But in the event of fatalities, which they occur, unfortunately, this is the National Day of Mourning to recognize all those who have fallen in the workplace in the last year. Secondly, the last proclamation is that by virtue of authority vested in me as the mayor, I'd like to proclaim the month of May as MS Awareness Month in the City of Thompson.
Excellent, which is definitely a good cause for the people of Thompson to get behind. All right, well, that does it for this edition of City Beats. Be sure to join us every Thursday at 11:30 to find out what's happening around the city and City Hall. For 102.9 CHTM, I'm CJ Carter.
City Beat will be back next Thursday morning at 11.